Welcome to Lawn in Disorder, podcast from the suburbs, with your hosts Karen Morgan and Jim Colleton.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lawn in Disorder, podcast from the suburbs. I'm Karen Morgan, and today is May 7th in the lovely year of 2020. And so we decided to do an episode about what is really happening in the world right now. So we're going to call this episode, How's Your Pandemic Going?
Oh, my pandemic is going wonderful. Hi, everyone. This is Jim Colleton. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Lawn in Disorder. So me and Karen decided to do an episode, obviously dedicated to the pandemic that the whole world is going through.
Yes, everyone together. And I'd like to start by, first of all, saying, my family is healthy. Everybody is fine. They're all home, and we are not healthcare workers. We are not in the front line. So anything that we talk about today, please know I understand is we are basically whining. and
my family falls into the exact same category. Me, my wife, my 3 children, we're all healthy. Have not been affected, and we are gonna have some fun with the things that our families are going through, but we definitely understand that this has been awful for some other families and the people, nurses and EMTs and people who work at nursing homes. This is, but we're gonna look at the lighter side of it, and we're not trying to be cavalier or disingenuous when any of our comments.
Exactly, and I think we are very similar to a lot of other families in that it's an interesting times. I'm trying to find the positive in things and I've told my kids from the moment that I picked them up at college. We thought we were picking them up for spring break and. Oh, it's not really spring break, but I told them, I'm like, we're going to be positive, we're going to be flexible. Those are like the 2 key words we keep using in our house. But things have definitely changed, even from that. I think it was March the 12th. I picked my kids up from college and brought them home.
We bought my oldest home she came home for spring break right around March 12th. And my wife said the same thing, try to stay positive. And I lasted till probably, I would say, March 13th. And the positive left my body forever. And now May 7th, there's nothing positive coming out of my mouth about this. Well, we're kind of in the same situations, too, where, I only had 1 child in college. You had 2. Yeah. And now everyone's home all the time.
Let's repeat, all the time. Well, my older 2 were in college. We picked them up, and we also brought home one of their friends who's an international student. So he could not go home. He couldn't go home because he wasn't sure if he could get back, with everything that was happening. So I've got 3 college students at my house, plus my high school senior who's going to be missing his graduation and basically missing all the fun stuff of his senior year. So I got 4 kids, big kids, plus my husband who is thankfully going to the office.
I didn't know. So that the college student who came home with your kids is still with you.
Yes, he's still here. And as a matter of fact, and he's a great kid. It actually has turned out, I told somebody the other day, it's kind of nice because I think my kids are being nicer to each other because there's another person here.
Sure. You got a visitor. They're visitor mode, and that's something good to know. Next pandemic, everyone bring someone home.
Bring home a stranger, and everybody will act nicer to each other. And he's great. No, we're happy to have him, and I think he will probably stay with us throughout the whole summer because of them trying to. They don't know what's going to happen in the fall with fall classes. They don't know if they're going back online. So there's so many unanswered questions for everyone that we're not unique. We just don't know either. So he's probably going to stay with us this summer. And
okay. Where is he? Where he cannot get back to?
He's from Mexico. So
okay.
Yes, and his family's down there. And their healthcare situation is, a little bit tenuous. So we're happy that he can stay. It really is.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that is great.
And he does make up the bed, so my kids don't.
Sure, he's a guest, so he's always going to be very well behaved. And that you can't run around like a screaming lunatic when you have a guest in your house.
Yes, you have to have your moments.
We do not have a guest in our house, so I am running around yelling at my children like a screaming lunatic. Yeah, my oldest was home for spring break, and then I think maybe the second to last day she got an email that said her spring break had been extended by a week, and then the next couple of days after that, we heard she was going to be home. So we had to go back down to DC, get all her stuff. And
so you have all of her things. You picked them up, or y'all went and picked them up.
Yeah.
My kids' stuff are still in their dorm rooms.
Really?
Yeah. When we picked them up, it was like, you can come back after spring break if you don't go out of the country. But yeah, we're going to be here. So we picked up a lot of their stuff. I said, hey, you should probably let's just take a lot of things, and but we did not move them out. So their stuff is still in their dorm room, and there's probably still unopened beers in their fridges. And, who knows what is in their room, but we have not even gotten back into those rooms to get their stuff yet.
So the whole school, everyone's stuff is still in the rooms?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you guys, I mean, it's a pretty long drive up to the kids' school, but you wouldn't just make that cruise up? They won't let you come up and clear out their stuff?
Well, they're telling us that in July they'll let us know what the procedure will be, because I think, they didn't know either. I have to say, I'll give it to my kids go to St. Lawrence, and they did a wonderful job, and as all of these schools have done, in a weird, and I hate to use the word unprecedented times, but that's really what it was. It's like no one could have prepared for, what do you do in this situation? Do we close? Do we not close? Do we send kids home? What do we do? And I think that in the moment, everybody did the best they could. And, at the end of the day, it's just stuff, everybody's
yeah.
I got my kids home. They're all healthy. Their dorm room stuff is not going anywhere,
and I complain as much as the next guy about this, but honestly, no one knew what they were getting involved in. And the politicians, colleges, high schools, you know what I mean? Yeah, we can always play Monday morning quarterback now and second guess their decisions. Yeah. But when this all started in March, it was all like, we all thought it was going to be a week, then it was going to be a month. Yeah. And now, we sit here at May 7th, and they're talking about people maybe not going back to school next fall, or summer vacations are canceled, and
so we're again, be positive and flexible. I feel like Kevin was Kevin Bacon at the end of Animal House when he's all is well, remain calm. Like, I feel like I get up every day and I start doing my all is well speech, but no one knows, and I think everybody's doing the best they can, and I think we're just all in it together. I hate to say that too, but we are, and so everybody needs to be flexible and be nice to everybody.
Yeah. Now, at first, I was the only person that was leaving the house. I would go food shopping for the family. I don't know. I was just put in charge, I guess, because I had absolutely nothing else to do. Now we've talked to. I'll tell you what, though. I don't think this disease is picky. It's not hitting the morons of the world, because. I was at the supermarket, and we're talking May 7th, so we've been in this for a while, so it's not like people are surprised by how contagious this disease is. There was a guy I saw at the supermarket. He had his face mask, not on his mouth, not covering his mouth and his nose. No, this gentleman decided to wear it around his arm, like an armband. I don't know if he didn't want to make sure his bicep or shoulder was infected, but I was like, wow. And I wanted to really track that man to see if he gets affected by COVID-19.
My arm is not getting COVID.
So someone told him that you have to wear a mask when you go out, and he said, you know what? I can't breathe when it's around my face. I'm going to wrap it around my arm. And there he is shopping in a supermarket. Everyone else in Massachusetts here is now a law. You have to go out. Everyone else has their mask on, and this guy. This genius is walking around with his around his armpit.
The Mensa members of the world. Yeah. So how many times are you having to go to the grocery store a week now?
I try to go just once. It's a whole process. Where I go, there could be a line, and depending on what time you go, it could be a half an hour, it could be a 10-minute wait. And so once you go in, Erin's pretty good, my wife, about making a list of meals we're gonna have, and we've talked about this too. Is with all the kids home, everyone's eating everything. And when you're in regular life, you have a child at school, and then your other two kids with me are home, but they're in activities. So if dinner is made, it's people come home at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, and they microwave some stuff, and they eat half of it while they're doing their homework.
Right.
Or they, but now it's full sit-down meals, and with sides.
We're using our dining room table, which is usually only used on Thanksgiving. That is literally the only day we use the dining room table. We are actually now sitting down, all 6 of us, every night for a meal, like the Cleavers. It's bananas.
But that was the other night. My wife said one of the things she's taking out of this is she loves having everyone home doing that,
Yeah.
And because the kids have nothing really else to do after dinner, they will sit around the table longer and talk. But no, I try to go to the supermarket once a week, and the cart is loaded, and it feels like it's twice as much money as we usually spend. As prices
ours is definitely a lot more expensive. Definitely, and I'm going at least twice a week, only because everyone in the house except for me drinks milk, but everybody drinks a different kind of milk. My daughter drinks oat milk. My husband drinks almond milk. My oldest son only drinks organic whole milk. I don't really drink milk. My other son doesn't drink milk, but because I'm having, and then you're limited to 2 gallons of milk. So then
we're not, because all we drink is milk, and I buy 4 gallons of leche every time I go, and I say Spanish because I always keep them under the cart as you're wheeling them through, and the cashier turns to the bagger, and they both speak Spanish. They're 4 leche, so now I've got them.
Do people look at you? Because I have a very, very full cart now, feeding everybody. Do people look at you like you're hoarding food? Because I've gotten a couple of hairy eyeballs from people looking at me like I shouldn't be buying this much food.
At the beginning in March, people will be like, "Whoa, what do you got going here, pal? Huh? You start? I got 3 kids at home, pal. So everyone was, and that's the thing too that I've noticed with this is everyone likes to play police. You know what I mean? Like, where's your mask? Are you 6 feet? And geez, you got a lot of food there. But no, I don't. I find the supermarket I go to, everyone's carts are jammed because I think everyone's doing the same thing. There's pretty much limited options for food for takeout. So everyone's finding to buy it.
Is your supermarket, are your aisles one way now? Do they have that? Okay,
they're one, which I enjoy. The only thing that irritates me is, again, it's the morons who are on their cell phone and they're just going down the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then they're like 6 feet. And it's like, well, pal, you're going the wrong way. That's why we're all.
You don't get to have that rule if you're good. The other day, I had to get some sort of juice that was at the top of the aisle, but it was one way, the wrong way. So I turned my cart backwards and I backed up. Backwards. I was like, please don't let anybody see me do it. But I was like, I'm not going all the way around. And there was nobody on the aisle just to get that juice that was at the top of the aisle.
Yeah.
But they put the stickers down, and I didn't know they were there the first time I went. It was one way, and I was going up the down, and this woman just stared me into the floor. And I said, I realize now that I'm at the end of the aisle that I am going the wrong way. I apologize. She just, nothing. I got no response back whatsoever. She was the police.
Yeah, I know when the first time they set the signs up, they had them on the floor, and they have them like hanging down from above too, which helps. But my wife makes a very detailed list of things I need to get, and I don't do a ton of food shopping, so I don't know where some stuff I don't even know what it is. Like capers. I didn't know if that was a deli meat or a vegetable. It turns out it's a little jar of these. I don't know. I still don't know what they are. They're little black
capers,
balls.
They grow on bushes. I like capers. Capers is one of those things, I think, that you either like or you don't like. I happen to like capers on salads and stuff. But I do recall that it was hard to find them when I needed them. And I had to find a lady that worked there. And she said, "Oh, no, you'd think they would be by the pimentos, but they're not." I'm like, I don't know why I would think they would be by the pimentos, but capers is definitely not a usual buy.
So I found myself doing a bunch of laps, and I was a little stressed out, but then I was like, this is all I have to do today. This could take 4 to 6 hours, and I still have plenty of time to fit in a nap at the end of this. And that was all on my agenda for the day. Get some food, hit a nap.
I go, and then I find now it's like a 3-hour process by the time I go to the store and then I come home. Do you wipe off all of your stuff when you come home and put it in the kitchen? Do you wipe everything with like?
No. Should I?
Well, I saw that on something that some doctor, he was a surgeon, and he showed how you should properly wipe your groceries when you get home. And so now it's in my head that if I don't wipe all the groceries off, someone is going to get it. So I bring all the groceries in and then I wipe them all off. And then by the time I'm done with that, I'm so over the food shopping and so over the grocery thing. I leave everything on the table and walk away. And then I come back the next day and it's all still sitting there. No one has put it away.
Really? Your college students don't come down and go, "Oh, let's help mom out and put the groceries away."
Do you need some help? Can I help you?
Yeah.
I got to tell you a story at the grocery store the other day, because most people are trying their best, and I do feel like
they are.
And the grocery store is really sort of the only thing that I've done so far to leave the house. I did take my son to get a haircut yesterday, but the grocery shopping, you go in, most people are trying. Most people are doing their best. So I was in the onion aisle, and I picked up an onion, and I dropped it, and it rolled like pretty far away. And this very nice man picked up the onion and was bringing it back to me. But then he and I didn't know how he should hand me the onion. Like, it was like, okay, do I hand it back to you? Do I put it back down in the bin? How close can we get to pass off the onion? It was like, it was like a baton passing at a track meet. So ultimately he held it up and dropped it in my hand like a tennis ball. And then we walked away, but we both laughed because we didn't know what the protocol was for onion passing.
I was at the supermarket and so the lines are pretty long. Because you have to be 6 feet away from the person in front of you. So I was almost like into an aisle and I was waiting in line. I saw this old woman and she had like a little basket of things. I had a full cart and she was just trying to find an open aisle and she kept jumping in lines. People like, "No, ma'am, we got a line behind you." So I was the last person in my line, and then right as my line moved up, I just said to her, I said, "Hey, jump in here." She's like, "Oh, no, you're already in line. I didn't understand." I said, No, go ahead. I go, "You only have a couple things. I'm in no rush." And then she was very appreciative, but she kept touching my cart. That is so nice when people do things like this. And I'm like, well, this has come back and bite me in the ass, hasn't it? And she, "Oh my gosh, you're such a nice man. Thank you very much."
Can I hug you and breathe on you?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, just pay for your stuff and stop touching my crap here, will you?
Well, my grocery store had to put, because you're supposed to wait until the person in front of you clears out. They've got all their stuff in their cart. They've got everything. You're not supposed to go up, even enter into that area until that person has cleared out, which makes sense. My grocery store had to put these pink signs that almost go across that area that say, "Stop, wait, don't enter the area until you're told." So it's now very clear. There's a big pink sign that tells you not to do it. And the other day I was there and there was a Mensa member, they're clearing me out. I'm still taking things out of my cart, putting them on the belt. This woman starts putting, the little divider line that we used to use in the old days. She put the divider on, started putting her stuff, and the cashier. I watched this lady, who's a very nice lady, because I see her a lot, lose her mind over this woman. She said, "Ma'am, she was just controlling herself. Ma'am, do you see the pink sign that says stop and wait?
Have you ever read a sign in your life?
So, and I think most people are trying their best, and then every now and then the Mensa members flip through, and we lose our minds over them.
And I get it. Some people are just in their own world, and I didn't see the sign. You're like, all right,
okay. The one that was standing in front of me. So what is different in your house? I know you and I are in similar situations that normally, if we're not traveling on the road for comedy shows, we are at home, but our kids aren't home with us. The kids are at school. So what is different in your house in terms of chores and things? And what is the biggest differences you see?
It has turned into more work from me. When before there was maybe one or two kids home, there would be one or two glasses. Now that there's three kids home, we will come down in the morning and there'll be 62 dirty cups and bowls and ice cream scoopers and whatever. No one, and that's when you start losing your crap. No one puts anything away. No.
And God forbid, don't reuse your glass. Get a clean one from the cupboard. Don't reuse anything.
Yes, and especially my girls are into all kinds of different liquids. There's iced coffee. There's cold brew iced coffee.
We have that too.
Some kind of coffee you make with instant coffee and you blend it up.
Oh, you're doing the whipped. You're doing the whipped. Yes, we're doing that as well.
And it's just to make more of a mess. Yeah. I pour hot coffee into a cup and I drink it black. That's it. The coffee pot was dirty and my cup is dirty. Now they'll make this, and it's not really coffee. It's flavored sugar water.
Yeah,
it tastes like coffee.
And then you're supposed to float it on a glass of milk. And
yes,
my daughter made it and ordered something off of Amazon to whisk it with. We
must have already had that because I know the thing you're talking about.
We have that, but she made it for me and it kind of looked good. And then I tasted it and it was terrible. It was like, ugh. He goes, no, you're supposed to float it on milk. I'm like, this is beyond what anybody should be making right now.
Yes, but I think that's the biggest thing. It's just there's more stuff around, and we leave lists. And I know this sounds. I guess that's why the show is called Lawn and Disorder. It's for parents, but you're like, listen, we're not asking you to do much. Just if you see a plate in the sink, put it in the dishwasher.
Yeah. I leave the dishwasher open for that reason. So, open and empty, because I'm the only one who apparently literally knows how to unload it and put things away. No one else seems to know that skill. So that's my skill level. But I leave it open and empty so that the dishes could be put right in there. It could be put right. That's right. It's open. It's right there. Are they in there? No, they're in the sink in a pile. So, yeah.
My kids are so lazy that we can't ask one child to empty the whole dishwasher. We have to divide it into 3 equal parts. One person does the top, one person does the bottom, and the third person loads the dirty dishes in the sink back into the dishwasher.
And all 3 of them think they have the worst job.
Yeah. Oh my! It's like you're taking a leg from them when you ask them to do this. And here's what I love: everything. They're all old enough to know that things go in certain places. Like we have a cabinet that has the plates and bowls, and there's glasses, and there's another one that has coffee cups. For them, it's just take whatever you put your hands on and put it in the cabinet and shut the door. Fry pan on top of the plates, no problem. You know what I mean? You're like, you go down and get a plate, you're like, who the hell put the fry pan on top of the plates?
It was flat and it was round.
Yeah, I think everything's away. What are you complaining about, Dad?
Do you guys have the Tupperware explosive cabinet that if you open it, all no lids and bottoms are put together, but if you open it, everything flies out into the room.
And here's to add to that: when we get takeout from a Chinese restaurant or an Italian restaurant, and it comes with kind of like a plastic container. My wife goes, "Oh, no, don't recycle those. Save those." So we have those. Oh, so we have another 300 things that don't have lids or bottoms. Yeah, I go, why? That way, if someone comes to the house and we want to give them something, you just put it in that. I go, we're in a pandemic. No one's coming to the house. We're not handing anyone leftovers.
Okay, so I have to defend her because I do the same thing. We have a lot of it's the Chinese thing. It's a black plastic bottom with a clear plastic top. But I, at least for those, because for some reason in my mind, those are the fancier, ones. I will put the lids on the bottoms of those. So I went to the basement yesterday to get a can of beans, because now I'm Little House on the Prairie and I have beans in the basement. And I went down there and I found I had put a giant trash bag filled already with Chinese food takeout containers that I've got downstairs, just in case somebody wants to come. And I guess we're caterers now. Is that what we are?
If the pandemic gets really bad, you guys can just take your leftovers and hit the road without good Tupperware.
Yeah. So.
It's endless. The Tupperware, saving Tupperware, getting Tupperware, someone else's Tupperware.
So, are you cooking now, or is Aaron still doing all the cooking?
No, I do some. I've said before, I can cook as long as everything's laid out for me, and she's pretty good with, this chicken needs to be put in, and then you do this, and you throw some peppers on top, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So, some things what was it, I don't know, my oldest wanted some kind of Greek food the other day, and I looked at the recipe, I go, I'm out, I can't, that's over my pay grade. I will...
If it's not microwave on high, I have like 3 things, and my list is limited. And trust me when I tell you, we've gone through my list numerous cycles right now. And about the 4th or 5th night, I'm like, you know what? I'm out. Everybody is on your own. It's cereal night. Whatever you want to do, I don't care. You get your own. And everybody is pretty good about doing it. And then I feel guilty, but at the same time, I'm like, the 2 things I literally hate worse in this world are going to the grocery store and cooking dinner. And
that's all you've been doing for the last 2 months.
How's your pandemic going? It's fine. It's fine. So I think we would be amiss in doing what we do for a living not to discuss how the pandemic has affected our businesses and our business together, and what the world of comedy looks like now and will look like after this is over. We don't know the answer to that, but I know that March, it was a very frenzied amount of canceling of shows. I even had a show canceled on March 12th. We were actually supposed to record a CD, and that show was at 7:00 on March 12th, and they canceled that show at 3. So. And then after that, all of March and all of April and May, and from now on, everything canceled. So
as far as comedy goes, this is not a funny subject for us to talk about, because it just, and when here's you're probably in the same boat. I don't know, maybe different. My feeling was that, when it started canceling in March, I'm like, so in March, you probably, your April work will probably get canceled too. And then as we got into April, people were canceling May, and I work a lot of cruises too. And, my agent just sent emails and it's like, this line is closed down to August 1st. I'm like, are you kidding me? And, this line is canceled all through June, and they're probably going to cancel July. And then you sit back, you're like, I have nothing. Like, for us, it's all about our calendars, filling our calendars with work. And you just look for the next couple of months. I have absolutely no work and nothing. And no one can tell you. Like, people I hang out with or whatever, talk to on the phone, they're like, will comedy ever come back?
Like, is it ever going to return?
Why would you say that to someone who makes their living as a stand-up comedian? I imagine it is, and everyone still needs to laugh, and they're going to want to get out. It's just, it's hard to say when that comedy club is going to open the doors, how many people are going to flock back.
Right, and what particularly comedy clubs and it's the in-person audience that is part of the experience. And some people, we obviously know that, but some people don't really realize that when you're in an audience sitting next to another, closely next to another audience member, and you're both laughing together, there's an energy level that builds in the room so that people are, it builds on each other, and it requires a live setting. We're not on a television. We are live in front of people. I want to see people in front of me, and I want to be able to say, hey, you're really good at this, Jim, about talking to the audience members and about doing some crowd work. And you can't do that on a Zoom meeting. It's just not possible. And so I really do miss that. I think it will come back at some point. It obviously will, but how long that's going to take, I don't know. But I do think there is an aspect to the comedy business that does require you being close together and right in front of the comic.
Yeah, there's nothing like a live performance, comedy and music or the theater, whatever it is. And that's what you miss. And that's what I know I miss. I'm sure the same way of being there performing in front of a live audience, in any kind of venue, whether it's a theater, it's a comedy club, or it's a stage on a cruise ship. It's the interaction and if the crowd's hot and you build off their enthusiasm and their laughter, and the show gets funnier and funnier as you're going, and you're like, you feed off of it. And all the live shows that people are doing on computers now, great, which is great. We have to do something, as creative people, we have to have an outlet, and but it's just not the same. And I think we're all just waiting for that day when they open the doors and go, all right, let's come back and see who shows.
Well, and even specifically our Lawn and Disorder show, when we bring audience members, out of the audience onto the stage, and it really, when they come onto our show, we don't know them. We don't know what they're going to say. It's not scripted at all. We have no idea how it's going to go. It usually it's very funny because everyone's living that moment together. And you just can't get that through a screen. It's just impossible.
People have a good time on the stage, and their friends in the audience are having a great, are laughing at it too, because their friends are all of a sudden now up on the stage with us answering these questions that we have for them. You can't recreate that on a Zoom call or a.
I think the Zoom calls and the other things that are happening out of necessity, quite honestly, are fun, and they're creative, and it's interesting. And some people are doing it better than others, and some of it's funny. But at the same time, I watch some of them, and I'm like, that's sort of like not my demographic, not me, but I'm still working. I mean, we're doing this podcast, so I think we were so busy before traveling and doing our things and doing stuff that we really never had time to sit down and do it. And now we are, which is so a positive blessing.
Yeah, that is one good thing. And we've talked about this also throughout this whole thing, is like, if you have not gotten to a project around your house over the last 2 months, you will never ever get to that project.
It's never happening.
You're like, what? I'm gonna climb to the top of the roof and adjust that. Like, it's stuff you just never. 10 years ago by, like, I haven't got to that yet.
I'm gonna get. My oldest son is although he's having to do online classes for college, it is not his thing. He's an outside, needs to be busy kid. So the first week or so when they came home, everybody's kind of nervous. Everybody's a little bit afraid. Nobody really knows what to do. And so he says to me, Mom, I'm going to help you finally clean the attic. So I have these 3 giant projects that I was going to do like in the fall when they were all off at college. And so I'm just doing them now. So it's starting in the attic. And this week we're now doing the garage. And next week we're doing the basement. And he's been helping me. I will give this kid kudos because but the first day we went up there, there's so much. We've lived in this house for 13 years, and the stuff is just sitting where we moved it in. Baby books, baby toys, all this stuff still up there. So the first day we just started tearing things apart. Like, we're just, what is this? I don't know. Throw it over there. What is that? Throw it over there. So the first 2 days we just threw things around the room, and then we got tired and we stopped. We said, you know what? The next few days we're going to watch movies. And so then we didn't go back up there for a while. And we are now almost finished. I think actually I might finish the attic today. And I didn't really do anything except move things around the room and put them in a different pile.
We did the exact same thing. We have like a walk-up attic, and it's almost like a playroom, but it has all these games and things up there. And so I said to the kids, I need your help. I want you to go through this. And my son is 15 now, and it's like little kids. games and or whatever, like project things that they do. And my son's like, Dad, why would we still have it? It's like, I don't know. It's been here since you used it last 15 years ago, like little baby things, And of course, my wife's like, oh, that's one of his cars. Keep it. And why?
There's always that one. My husband, we have his train sets from when he was a baby. Like they're in our attic, and he's like, no, those are worth something. That's worth something. And so my son went on eBay and said it's about worth $1. No, we're not keeping. I found yesterday a giant box of VHS tapes. Disney, the original Bugs Life, I for some reason have all those. And that's the one thing I'm like, Aaron, I'm like, I don't want to give these away. Like, I have that little sentimental thing about these are all the tapes that babysat my children. I have good memories of these.
You could have a half an hour to close your eyes.
We used to call that quiet time when my kids were little, and particularly in the summer. After lunch, we had quiet time, and basically it was me shoving in a tape and laying on the couch and telling them that they couldn't leave the room.
Yeah, did they ever? I did the exact same thing with my children. And did you ever wake up and there was like two, and one of them just disappeared? You're like, where the hell's the other one? You know what I mean? And they don't know. I don't know. We were watching the Disney movie. Anything could have happened.
So I have to ask you this. So now that you're home with your kids, are you doing TikTok movies? I don't know.
No, yeah, I am not, but they are showing me 300 to 400 TikToks a day. TikToks and memes. They're big into showing, and then some of them are kind of funny, but I just don't need to see so many of them. Like, Dad, you got to watch the TikTok. Dad, you got to watch this TikTok. I think my kids are doing TikToks too. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not on the TikTok, but I don't. Are your children doing TikToks?
They're not doing them, but they watch them a lot. And then so I finally downloaded it at the urging of some friends. Said, "Oh no, Karen, why?" Because they assume you do comedy, that you would be great on TikTok, and the answer is no. It doesn't necessarily apply. But I downloaded the app, and I, like many of people in my age group, spent the first 2 nights up until 3 a.m. scrolling through them, laughing. And they are funny. They're totally entertaining. I just don't want to dance out in my yard in my pajamas right now. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And TikToks and memes, they always want to show you some meme or talk about some meme.
Well, my kids are always they'll show me their phone and they're like, look at this funny thing, but I don't have my glasses on. So then I have to go get my glasses. And so by the time I start, but wait, I don't have my glasses on. They're like, no, never mind. It takes too long for them to show it to me.
Yeah. And with all 3 of my children being home, I tend to be, it's pretty probably even who's the butt of the jokes. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's my wife. And with their phones, I said the same thing. They were watching something, and I said, hey, I want to watch the 10 o'clock news. Can I use the TV? And to them, that's the funniest thing in the world. They're like, I love Dad. He thinks they only play the news at 10 and maybe 11. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, Dad, once the 10 o'clock news is over, all these people just go home. Their work day's over.
That's actually an interesting observation, because we grew up with the 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock news, and that was it. And then
to them, they just watch their phone. They watch CNN on their phone or whatever where they get their news. I don't know if TikTok has a news station.
The whole state. So are you guys watching any like shows together as a family? Do you guys watch everything together or nothing?
No, I mean, I think we did Ozark. I think when this all started, it just came out, and I know my oldest had watched a couple episodes, so she sat down and me, her and Aaron watched the finals or the last season of Ozark. There's been a couple shows Samantha's always watching Parks and Rec, and that's on. I'll sit down and watch a couple episodes of that with her. And that's funny. And my son is just Xbox all the time. But it's up in the attic. And
we did Ozark. We're doing Ozark because I had never seen it before. We're still on. I think we're on the 2nd season. but we're at that point of like everybody wants to watch them. So if someone's not available, you're not allowed to watch it without everybody there. So it's taking a long time. With 6 people having to be in the room together, it's taking a long time. But we did. It was my son's birthday is May the 4th, and so of course we had to do some Star Wars Day. So we did Star Wars stuff, and now we're doing The Mandalorian, which is I'm a total Star Wars nerd. So we're doing that.
No, you really? I didn't know you guys were that into Star Wars.
Yeah, my embarrassing Star Wars story is that when it came out in 1977, I was 13, and I went to the movie theater 26 times separately to see because back then there were no VHS tapes.
I know. Yeah,
go to the theater. I went 26 times to see Star Wars. That's how much I loved that movie. And
probably went 2 or 3 times because parents would take. I think it was, I don't know, 8, 9 years old, but everyone's parents would take you for someone's birthday.
Yeah, we did, because it was that summer. I also was babysitting that summer, so anytime I babysat and the kids I was like, do you want to go see Star Wars? Like, I would make all my people that I work with, your child needs to see Star Wars. That was part of the reason I got to see it so many times. But anyway, so Mac was, I worked really hard to have a child born on May the 4th. So
there you go. Yeah.
Took me a while, but anyway,
we've had a couple birthdays during this pandemic too.
Oh yes.
And here's what I love. So, like I said, I'm the only one that usually goes food shopping, and my wife, as I'm heading out the door, go, "Hey, if you see anything for the kids at the supermarket for their birthdays, pick it up."
That's right.
Oh, sure. What 15-year-old boy wouldn't want a cantaloupe for his birthday?
We've thought long and hard about this. We think you've deserved the cantaloupe. So
I'm like, well, what the hell would I find in a supermarket for the kids for their birthday?
Oh, come on. There's that summer aisle of toys. There's something on there. The other day, Mac turned 18, so I didn't have a card. Also, I every year I buy birthday cakes because I hate to cook. I'm not great at it. But this year I had to make birthday. So I made him 2 cakes because I knew they would both kind of suck. If I figured if I make 2, put them together. But I had to get him so I went to the birthday card aisle at Shaw's, which is not. There's not the greatest selection of cards. And so I ended up getting him a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles birthday card for his 18th birthday.
Ah, there you go. He's a big boy.
Yeah. I put cash in it, so it worked out fine.
No one cares what the card looks like.
No one cares.
It's funny what you end up yelling at your kids for, and I don't even know if it has anything to do with the pandemic, but I guess my son's like me. I'm not a huge dessert person. I have I like salty stuff, but cake or brownies or ice cream's okay every now and then, but it's not a huge deal to me. But so my son, I guess, is like me. So my wife and my daughter made him a birthday cake, and then we have his little birthday, and we have cake and ice cream. And he's like, "Nah, I just want a scoop of ice cream." And my wife's like, "You're not going to have the cake we made you?" He's like, "No, I don't really like cake, And then I could tell it hurt her. And my other daughter's like, we made you the cake for your birthday." He's like, I don't care. I don't like cake. Now I'm yelling, "Have some cake. Joe, would you have some cake? The mother made you the cake. Have some cake." You know what I mean? I'm yelling at the kid to have some chocolate cake. Everyone likes chocolate cake. Have a piece of chocolate.
It's your birthday, and you will eat this cake, and you will enjoy it. No.
Give me a piece of cake.
We got through the 18th birthday, and you got through your birthdays, but now our next sort of milestone that we're about to hit, which I think makes me the saddest, is the high school graduation that we're about to miss. And Mac is my youngest; it would be our last high school graduation, and he thankfully is being much more zen about the whole thing than even I am. I think personally as a mother, I'm probably sadder about it than even he is. So right now the plan is I'm on a committee with a principal to try to figure out how to do something, so that we don't just not have, the kids all said we don't want a Zoom graduation. So I was like, what if we had a parade and everyone gets in the back of the parade of a pickup truck with their family, and then they get to Main Street, and then they go in front of the school, and somebody takes a t-shirt gun and shoots their diploma at them. And so we were coming up with all these sort of weird ideas. But now the latest is, I think in Maine, you can have a gathering of 50 people or less. So the class size is about 150. So they're thinking of dividing the class into 3 groups and actually having the kids wear their cap and gowns and walk across the stage and get their diploma. and then the parents would just watch it on a live feed somehow. So I think that's what we're going to have for graduation.
Yeah. Now, would this be outside?
I think it could be in. I don't know. I think that hasn't been decided yet. But
yeah. See, here's the stuff that they're talking about, and like I said, everyone's trying to do the best they can and stay positive. But some of the stuff, like to not be able to have a graduation in August, is like, what are we doing? Are we are we ever going to get back to normal? Like, and who is the 50 kids outside? Yeah. Parents stand on a fence area and make sure that they're all not together or whatever. I'm just like, really? And here's a kicker here in Massachusetts. Just yesterday, 325 new state troopers were sworn in, and they had the ceremony at Gillette Stadium with the governor. I'm like, is this the stupidest thing in the? You're telling schools and colleges all over Massachusetts you cannot gather, and then you have these state troopers like, oh yeah, come on, you guys can come in. We'll do this really quick. You know, they were all. They showed a video. They were all separated. There was 6 feet in between them, and the governor said, "I had to swear them in." Oh, really? You have to swear the state troopers in? They're not able to be state troopers without you waving your hand over them.
Right.
Come on. And I think it just looks silly that you're canceling these graduations, yet these grown men who are becoming state troopers get to have their sworn-in ceremony.
They get their ceremony. Well, and I think we actually were talking about having the graduation. Let's postpone it to August. And one of the issues was that some of the kids in the high school class are going into the military, so they're going to be shipped out before August, so they would not be able to take part in it. And then the other discussion about August was, well, what if we do get to August and we're still not able to have more than 50 people together? Then at that point, everyone in theory, and this is our next milestone is the fall, but in theory, people go off to college, and then you've lost the opportunity. Or do you have it at Thanksgiving? There's no good answer.
Yeah, I think that's it with all. I know I don't have none of my children are graduating this year. I have some nieces and some nephews and just people I know here in town who have seniors, and there is no good answer. There's no, and it's not going to please everyone when you're making these decisions. Like I said, if you have it in August, some kids are going to be gone. Some kids are going to be in the military, or some kids aren't going to be around. And then if you have it, I don't know. It just seems silly to me to come back into Thanksgiving and then try to force it in then. Yeah. But I think whatever you can do, even if it's this, I think I was talking to my sister who has a daughter graduating, and she's like, we just really want to see her in a cap and gown. Yeah. Take some pictures. I don't care if we just sit in our backyard after and it's just our immediate family. We can't have people over. Right. But I think that's all that most people want, is that the ceremony of just them in the cap and the gown, graduating from high school. Yeah, and the 12 family years coming through the schooling program or whatever. Yeah, I think that if we get to see them in their cap and gown, and they get to have their diploma, and we get to see that process, I think everyone will be. Obviously it's not the same, but it's better than nothing, and it allows everyone some closure to move on to the next thing. So that's in 20 years from now, you look back at the pictures, you're like, oh, this was remember that they didn't even have a graduation. Man, that's so fun. So what are your kids' plans for the summer? I know the kids in my house right now, they're finishing up their online college classes right now. My high school senior has a couple more weeks, and then a senior project in theory. So where are your kids in terms of summer plans? Same thing. Well, my oldest has just finished her classes yesterday. She had a last final yesterday, and she's kind of up in the air because her plan was to be going over to Australia in the fall for a semester, and that was canceled. And so she's now trying to look. Her plan was to try to find an internship for the summer down in DC, and but I think it's going to be really hard because no one's even people are laid off or furloughed. Yeah. There's not a lot of need for an internship, so she's just trying to decide now where she could find a job too. Because I know my second daughter was a lifeguard at a pool, and she doesn't even know if she's going to be working this summer. So it's all still kind of up in the air where where they can, look for jobs, who's going to be hiring.
Right. It's almost like they're in second grade again, and everyone's home, and we have to figure out what to do.
Yeah, you're just counting down the hours.
Yeah, my oldest, similar to your oldest, was supposed to be in Nepal, for a summer semester, and that obviously is not happening. And then his job,
what was he going to do in Nepal?
It was a summer, it was part of school, so he was going to get credit, and they were going to do a hike. He's an anthropology major, so it was a really great opportunity trip, not happening. So
COVID-19 has hit Nepal pretty hard?
Well, I don't know if it's hit Nepal, but it's because it was a school functioned trip leaving the country.
They can't.
They just can't. There's just no way. So that's not. So anyway, so now he's back to, okay, well, I guess I'll work. But the past 2 summers, he's worked down in Nantucket on a fishing boat, and Nantucket's been affected, and obviously any tourist activity of any kind, whether it's Nantucket or Portland, Maine, or whatever, it's going to be slowly not happening. So I think he's going to stay home, and he did buy a boat. 16 foot. And I totally supported it, because I was like, yeah, whatever it takes to get you out of this house, to give you something to do, is totally fine with me. I bought him the life jacket to go with the boat. You will
buy
wear
the boat.
The life jacket.
I'll supply the life jacket. And I think that's the scary part, is now that we're into this at about 2 months, but when you see the economic impact that shutting a summer down is going to have, and you think of like Portland, Maine, perfect example, or Nantucket, or New Hampshire, Cape Cod. So many restaurants or hotels and resorts. That's their time to make the money.
Yeah,
and you're going to kill the economy. And I don't have any answers, but I don't know what to do. But just to say, no one come to Maine for the summer. All right, well. It may not be much of Maine come fall, if that's how we're going to handle it.
Well, and we have primarily tourism is our main economy, and then we also summer camps. So you think about all the kids that have gone to all these summer camps up here every summer, the kids that are the counselors, the people that run the summer camp. So it's a domino effect of every industry is attached to each other. And I don't know, and I think I actually applaud what our governor is doing. She's done a really nice job. Of course, people are criticizing her because she's not completely open, but I wouldn't want to be her, and I wouldn't want to be a college person trying to figure out what to do for the fall. And so I always come back to my same mantra of all is well, but be flexible, be positive, and thankfully my family is okay just going to the grocery store, and I know some families are not. So I try to, when I go to the grocery store, I pick up a few extra things and I take them to the food pantry. Is that it's not a lot, but it's a little bit of trying to help others around us. And this summer is going to be weird. It's going to be I guess we're going to be back to, I have to make sure everybody has quiet time after lunch. I don't know.
I would dust off your VCR.
I think we're going to be watching Bug's Life a lot.
Who wants to see Toy Story 2 again?
Again. I've got all of them. My kids are like, oh, those are worth something. I'm like, I did look up those. There was one Cinderella that if you had a black label version, it was worth $13,000. And my kids were convinced.
What the hell's on the black label version?
It was some sort of black label Disney edition. And my kids thought we had it. So we went through that box and we have, it was like, here it is. And we pulled it out. It's the silver edition. It's worth $4.
Wow, that drops off a lot.
Drops right off, 13,000 to 4. So I guess at the end of every show, we give people advice on this subject that we've talked about. I don't know what advice I have.
I'm going to let you go first on the advice portion of the pandemic.
What advice do you have for people about pandemics? And in all my experience of pandemics, I would say I don't know, except that I'm just trying, I think everybody needs to try their best and try not to be a moron at the grocery store. Read the signs,
Don't wear your mask on your arm.
That could be the top of our list. Don't wear your mask on your arm. Try to listen to the scientists. They do know what they're talking about. I try to shut out the news, whether it's at 10 o'clock or 6 o'clock or all day.
There you go.
Yeah. I just turn it off, and I'm trying to be positive, and I'm also trying to look at the positives about what's happening. Normally, my kids will be in 3 or 4 different places, and now they're all home. And yeah, adds a different level of stress maybe, but at the same time, we're all home together. And so it is a weird and kind of nice time to have everybody around to be able to watch a silly TV show together or whatever. So I'm trying to take the positives in it and be Pollyanna in your pandemic. That's what you should be. So
there's your advice. Yeah, I guess that's a great way to look at it. Probably in 5 years from now, with us, when our kids have moved out, you're gonna look back and like, actually, it was miserable, but it was kind of fun.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And we get to have, we finally got to clean out the attic and see what was in our basement. Yeah. I look at it too, where every day kind of blends together. Like, it doesn't matter. Like for us, our schedules are very different. So like on a Friday afternoon, when all my neighbors are like, oh, we're having people over to have drink, we're getting in the car to drive to a show, or
right,
So, but from now, where you don't have anything on your schedule, it doesn't matter if it's a Monday or it's a Thursday afternoon or a Sunday. It's all really the same day. I found that making lists of things to do, and I must have got that from my father because he was famous for making lists. But make lists. I want to accomplish this today. You know what I mean? And this was one of them. We had talked about doing the podcast for a while.
Yeah.
And then we had so much free time. We're like, all right, let's start banging this. Let's figure out how you make a podcast.
Or clean out the attic. Pick one of those lists.
Check it off your list.
Exactly. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to another episode of Lawn and Disorder. We'll be back with another episode not about pandemics.
No,
next
but
time.
If you have anything you would like to add about your pandemic and how you are surviving, you have any advice or any questions, please reach out to us either on our Facebook page, Lawn and Disorder, or info@lawnanddisorder.com.
Enjoy your pandemic.
And thanks for listening.
This has been the Lawn and Disorder podcast from the suburbs with Karen Morgan and Jim Colleton. For more information or sponsorship opportunities, go to lawnanddisorder.com. Come visit us again in the suburbs, where you can still be happy, even though you will never again be cool.